Hey everyone, welcome back. I have a conversation with John Zepf and Tom Gallagher on tap shortly that we'll be talking about Notre Dame football. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day because I saw it yesterday. Officially came out in theaters today. It's a global phenomenon. It's going to make just under $1 billion in its opening weekend, which is absolutely insane. People seem to be responding really positively to it, and I had a good time with it. So I figured I'd talk about it just for a little bit. It may not be as in depth as my Odyssey talk with John, certainly, but I have a few thoughts I figured I'd share with you. Speaking of which, by the way, the Odyssey podcast, I really enjoyed doing that with my other friend, John Brock. He had a really great time doing it. He's got wonderful insight. He's really great to have on, and people seem to respond pretty well to it. It's done pretty well numbers-wise, and I've had people reach out and talk about it. So, please, if you guys think you'd enjoy more of that, I would love to have John on more. I think that it's really it's a great opportunity for me to be able to talk about movies with someone like him, and I'd love to do it more. So, you guys might see more of that in the future. So thanks for the feedback on that one. Spider-Man, Brand New Day. This will start, I'll give a little bit here give a non-spoilers review. At that point, if you haven't seen it and you still want to, I'll put a link in the comments. You can just skip to the part about football if that's what you want from that point on. I think ultimately, just big picture, it really effectively, this movie shows Peter's transition into adulthood. It's a very different Spider-Man. It's a different Peter Parker. It's a different kind of movie overall than what we were getting with John Watts and the original Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. And I really appreciated that. I thought it was cool. And this is coming from someone who really liked those three movies, and in particular really liked Far From Home and No Way Home. I think this gave a lot of Tom Holland. It gave Tom Holland a lot of room to work with as an actor, because this ultimately is a very emotionally grounded story, and it's not quite as interested in the action or maybe furthering some greater narrative that is going to pay off later. It's just about Peter and the villain and kind of their struggles and how they feel about that. And I really appreciated that. It was kind of a breath of fresh air in that respect. The other thing that I really liked too was that the way that they handled the villain and kind of that story in general, it's a very self-contained story. People might say that, this is homework or this is going to matter more for later. And it's yeah, some of this will matter for later just because we know that. But you got everything you needed from the start, middle, and end of this particular arc in this movie. And I thought that was a really nice way to do that. Other thing I'll say, while we're in the non-spoiler section, I think this world felt very lived in, and you saw a lot of different things get pulled together because that's who Spider-Man is as a character. You're going to see some different things, different people, and I like that as well. It felt very true to what a good Spider-Man story is. So I like that a lot. At this point, I would avoid spoilers from here on out. I would hop over to the next part of the podcast, and now I'll talk more specifically. Again, Jean Grey, I think, is just done really well. You and I, or maybe just I, know that Jean Grey is going to be a big part in whatever X-Men movie gets made by Marvel in the next 3-4 years, but you don't need to know that ahead of time. And I also really like the way that they did it, contrasted with No Way Home, where when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are on screen, they literally would pause a little bit to give the audience time to clap and cheer because it meant a lot to them. Jean Grey, they don't really do that. They establish that this girl is Jean Grey, but again, they're not gazing and they're not marveling at the fact that, oh my god, it's Jean Grey, the Phoenix is in this movie. It's she's just a part of this story of Spider-Man's, and you get some of her backstory and then you kind of move on with it. And I thought that was really nice. And again, with a lived-in thing, some people might argue that it's a little scattered to have all these different characters in the story, but I kind of liked it. And again, they were all in service of Spider-Man's story, Black Widow, Hulk, Punisher. They're all there. They're working with Spider-Man directly in this story. So I like that too. The action felt a little hit or miss to me. I thought the Hulk stuff was fun, and it looked cool. Some of the other stuff, it was a little more so-so for me, felt a little awkward, but some of that was also probably, I was in the second row of the theater, and I couldn't really see super well, so I'm probably going to see it again in the next 2 weeks, closer to the back or the front, or the middle. That was all the options, closer to the back or the middle, and I'm willing to admit that I perhaps could not have gotten the most accurate representation of what all that looked like in front of me. And the story also, again, just really, I appreciated the way that it was focused more on Peter's emotional arc, and everything else was kind of a byproduct of that. Really like the scene where Peter and MJ are up on the rooftop, and Peter gets tricked into thinking that she remembers it again. That felt almost a little cruel in a way that you don't always necessarily see in something like a Marvel movie, and that was fun. Like, I'm glad that they took it that way, because originally I was like, oh come on, I can't believe they did this. Like, she just magically figured it out, but she didn't, and I'm glad that she didn't. That was nice. Yeah, so all in all, it was a pretty good movie. I don't know where I would rank it amongst the other Spider-Man movies. I still have to think about it a little bit. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. Definitely go see it. I liked where this was, and I assume that Tom Holland is going to be doing a couple more movies after this. I don't know if he's in this next Avengers movie or not, but I've always really enjoyed the Tom Holland Spider-Man and the movies he's been in, and this is a very nice continuation of that, while also being different than what we've had before. So that is my Spider-Man Brand New Day. If you guys have any thoughts, again, please let me know. I'd love to hear them. And now we're going to cut to John and Tom talking about football. Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of the SQ Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Steve Sales. These three guys haven't done a podcast in almost a year, right? USC the last one that we did?
Probably USC.
Was it really? Wow.
Holy cow. Tom, can I see your face, by the way? Is that so much to ask for? So I am joined today. We're talking about Notre Dame football. This is the trio. It's got me, we've got John Zepf, we got Tom Gallagher. We're all here. It's football season. John is Jay-Z is 1 week into fall camp for the for TC. We're getting there. Football is in the air.
It's in the air. Full
August is tomorrow.
Board drills. Can't do Oklahoma's anymore, but we're hitting. People are hitting.
What's like the closest you could get to an Oklahoma drill today?
A board drill. So two guys lined up right next to each other, and then blow the whistle, and they just get after it. But
doesn't that just sound wonderful?
Can't really tackle like that. Can't really tackle like in Oklahoma anymore, though.
Well, unfortunately, that's how these things go.
But yeah, it's for the better. It's for the better.
I bet the Florida kids aren't really complaining about that.
No, they're not.
No, I wouldn't think so. Okay, so officially today is July 31st. When you will be seeing this tomorrow on August 1st, we have football this month. College football. It's pretty great. Pretty awesome. Notre Dame does not play until, what is it, the 6th of September?
September 6th. Yep.
But you know what? I want to talk about some Notre Dame football, so we're going to talk about some Notre Dame football, and that's just how it's going to go. These are some painful memories that we're going to relive here a little bit, but I do think that, if we're going to talk about Notre Dame football, we got to go back to 2025, because the three of us never really talked about it. I did a little thing about Notre Dame missing the playoff, and I think that ended up being really the only thing that I was able to get out for that. I wanted to look at it more from like, what did we learn from 2025 is as we're preparing for 2026? Because there's definitely, we're going to do some stuff this month. We're going to talk a lot about what we're going to expect this year. The first sentence that I'm going to start off with, I guess, and you guys feel free to jump off from there. I think that 2025 was a really interesting and twisted combination of being a resounding failure that still made me feel very good about the direction that the program is heading. Tom, is that a fair thing for me to say? Do we think?
Yeah, failure is a strong word. Don't get me wrong. Missing the playoff made it an unsuccessful season and was certainly disappointing and frustrating and all that. But heading in the last year, we all knew, it was not a national championship level season. We knew coming off of the run the year before, losing Leonard, having an unknown at quarterback, new DC, we knew it was going to be a little bit more of, I don't want to say a rebuilding year, but it was going to be a little bit lower expectations, and then 26 would be that big run.
Mm-hmm.
So a complete failure is a little strong, but the point sticks. Missing the playoff was awful. I'm not going to look back at 25 and say, oh, yeah, that was a great season. No. So I think that's a good combination of those emotions.
Well, all right, so let me ask you that. So when I say failure, I certainly don't mean it was entirely Notre Dame's fault. Not to say that Notre Dame did nothing wrong, because they did. But obviously, make the playoffs, I do not think you could rest entirely with Notre Dame. But, Tom, did you mean, were you thinking that the fan expectation at the beginning of the season wasn't? Yeah. Okay. All right. I see what you mean.
Yeah. And obviously that changed as the year went on because the team proved, and we'll get to this later on, they could play that level of football.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sidebar: I'm not sure anyone was beating Indiana, as much as it pains me to say that.
Well, hold on a second. We'll get there. But certainly, John, I don't know about you, but so John and I were actually in the same place, or we were on different buses, I guess, at that time. But the first thing that comes to, I have a lot of thoughts on the 2025 season, but the first thing that comes to mind is me sitting on that bus on our way to the Austin airport and like seeing that screen, just seeing Alabama at 9 and realizing, oh, that's not good.
Oh, that's
because that was the one outcome. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to it wasn't James Moore. It was who was I explaining this to? I was explaining it to somebody. And I was like, well, the one thing that's not going to happen is Alabama at 9. That would be the one thing that is impossible to happen because of the way that all these games played out. And then Alabama flashes at 9. I was like, oh, man, like we are toast. Yeah.
Absolutely. Brutal.
I know. Brutal. Well, all right. So let me ask you this then. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. John was fighting the throes of food poisoning the night before. So
the night before. And then get hit with that in the morning on a bus. I'm like, ugh.
Bit of a rough weekend for the kid there.
As bad as it gets, man. But
let's say, all right, so let's think about it another way, though. Like, let's say take the playoff snub out of it. What would come to mind? Like, when you think of the 2025 Notre Dame football season, John, what's like the first thing that sticks out to you other than that? It could be a play, it could be a player, it could be like something more conceptual.
I think it's, I think the defense, obviously, we can talk about defense first. But I think the defense really came around, and I think that's something that was nice to see. And also, especially for like when you have a new defensive coordinator, there's going to be a learning curve, right? There's going to be differences. There's going to be differences in concepts and techniques. Your key reads are going to be different, right? Everything shifts a little bit. Now, cover 3 or cover 2 or like all these coverages are generally the same, but different. You'll have different keys and different techniques that are pretty unique to different coaches. So I feel like for the first 2 games, it was just unfortunate for us that our toughest 2 games were our first 2 games. And in all honesty, like I thought Ash did a great job to end the season. I think it was pretty clear that we were not prepared, right? That we were not prepared after the summer, after fall camp, and we were not prepared for the high level offenses that we saw in the first 2 games. But, as the season progressed, right, we had a little bit more time to kind of settle into the defenses. I thought we looked very good. Again, I think we were really young. I mean, who are the guys that we really lost? Burnham, right? And Burnham, I thought, didn't have a great season. Stroman, right? But that's kind of it, right? That's kind of it. So I think it's pretty exciting that, our defense kind of molded into not quite 2024 version defense, but I think that it's very, very projectable and very very high on this defense coming into this year.
Absolutely.
I think that Ash did a much better job, right? Ash and Marcus did a much better job towards the end of the season.
Yeah. So that's definitely something that we'll talk about. So we're actually, I'm telling both of you this now as well as the listeners, but we're going to split up our 2026 preview. We're going to do an episode on the offense specifically and the defense specifically because, I need to stretch out that content, but also like, our last preview went like an hour 40. I think we can just chop that up into 2. We'll have enough to talk about. I'm not really worried about it. The defense is going to be really fun to talk about because like, as you just said, like they really were playing really well by the end of it after bouncing back, but looking more in the past rather than forward, kind of adding to your point here, in the overall like efficiency metrics, a lot of the analytical rankings that had us so highly ranked for us to still miss the playoffs, they had us this is in FPI and this is like general efficiency on each side of the ball. Notre Dame was 7th in defensive efficiency despite having 2.5 games of being like abjectly horrible. Because that also the Purdue game was terrible. The first half of the Purdue game was just as bad. We gave up like 24 points. Did we not in the first half? It was crazy. So all that to say, again, I think that really goes along with what you're saying, in that they were able to be the 7th most efficient defense in the country in spite of having such a bad start. That's a really strong testament to how they played at the end of the year and like what they were able to figure out, I think, functionally with Ash at the helm. We'll get into some of this a little bit more too. But Tom, I want you to please eulogize what was so unique and special about the 25 offense that we will not have this year or the next couple of years, regardless of how good the offense is.
Oh, man.
I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yes, I am. I mean, how can you not? Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, just ridiculous. I mean, there's really not enough positive adjectives to describe them. Love in particular, like, it felt like every Saturday there was a highlight that, like, would be the best highlight for any other running back in the country, except he does it weekly. Like every single week, there was just a play that you go, how the heck did he do that? And just made fools of defenders. And I think it's pretty fair to say that he was the best offensive player in our lifetime.
Oh, yeah. Right?
I
Yeah,
think-
no, there's no debate.
For sure.
You could argue Brady Quinn was up there.
Golden, maybe?
Maybe, but like,
But it's love. It's love.
it's love. It truly is just a complete game wrecker. And then to have Price behind him, who like he comes in and first carry, it's a 40-yard touchdown. It feels like every week. It's like, oh, okay, that's just a pain for defenses to have to defend. And yeah, I mean, as you said, those duos like that come around once every 30 some years. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to go back to literally, I think, the early 90s, right, to get something
Right.
even close to this for Notre Dame.
Right. I mean, it'd be the bus.
Yeah. I think I've said this story on this podcast before, but I'll say it again. So my dad graduated from Notre Dame in 1994, so 1993 was his last season of football as a student. And his roommate was a guy named Willie Clark, who ended up playing in the NFL for 5 years at defensive back. And he was, when they came on campus, he was the 7th running back out of 8 running backs on the depth chart at Notre Dame. And every single guy in front of him and the one guy behind him all played in the NFL at running back. That, you know, as great as
That's Zepf. Yep.
not too far off from what we look like now.
Yeah, no, right. But and that's even all that to say, like, as crazy as the talent is getting at Notre Dame, and like, you know, we don't really do recruiting and stuff. Like, you know, this is the best recruiting we've had since that time. You're never going to see a running back room like that. I mean, that's just unbelievable. But Tom, I think you put that very well. I think that you know, they were both extremely memorable players, not for just their play style, but I think the way that they carried themselves on campus. Like, you even see Jeremiah Love gets interviews all over the place ever since he's gotten drafted by the Cardinals, and you just hear all these nice things he has to say about Notre Dame, but also just the completely like professional way that he's approached his career and his health and just his process. And I think it speaks very highly to the way that Notre Dame, like the types of players that Notre Dame looks for, and also kind of the lifestyles that it tries to develop, which I think is cool. And also just from football, I mean, obviously just so exciting, right? I mean, just flash play after flash play. We got the 98-yard touchdown against Indiana, you know, but then we also had maybe the best 2-yard touchdown of all time against Penn State, right? Coming from the same guy. I saw someone a couple weeks ago that was talking about how Denbrock needs to run on second and long less because he did it too often last year. But like, that was fine last year because like with those two guys, they're so explosive. Like, you might as well be throwing the ball on 2nd and 11, and then you're just going to get yourself into 3rd and short like that. And they shouldn't do that this year, but that's a once in a lifetime opportunity to do stuff like that last year. And I think it's really a testament to those two guys. And it's really a shame that they did not get an extended postseason run to kind of show us even more.
Yeah. As you said, 3rd and 6 was a rundown last year.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, yeah, I mean, what? Love finished the year averaging 7 yards a carry?
Something like that.
That's a rundown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, just a shame that the way that went down. But if you look back at the season, I think those are really the core tenets of like playoff snub. Defense started just horrifically and really rebounded in a strong way. And 2 of the most, you know, unique running backs we're ever going to see on the field at the same time. So one thing that I do want to do now is I asked everybody to come up with 3 takeaways from the 2025 Notre Dame season. And I didn't tell you guys what I meant by takeaway because I wanted you to kind of interpret that yourselves. I chose that to mean for me, looking at 2025, what did we learn about Marcus Freeman? What did we learn about certain players? What did we learn about the program in general that can help inform what we think is going to happen in 2026? So I will just at least say, and Jay-Z actually kind of touched on this a little bit. My first takeaway was, I think 2025 really established the superstars on this team that are going to lay the foundation of whatever comes next. Like if they make a deep playoff run this year or maybe even next year, like it's going to be because of some of these guys. CJ Carr, obviously, is going to be the leader of all aspects of the offense. I mean, we saw him last year in his first 2 games of the year, where his first 2 games of his career were against 2 playoff caliber defenses, really good defenses, and he acquitted himself very well. and he showed he was going to be able to make some plays under pressure. He was going to be able to run an offense really well. You see a lot of tape guys all over the place fawning over Carr's processing, his ability to change plays at the line. Did basically everything you could have asked him to do as a first-year player who was also managing having these two running backs running behind him. Leonard Moore firmly established himself as the best defensive back in the country, right? I mean, he came in as a true freshman, and he was really, really good, and everybody, I think, thought it was great. But, that could just be 1 year, and then he came up, and he was even better this year. Showed us inside and outside flexibility. If there's a receiver that has any kind of pulse whatsoever, Leonard Moore is going to be guarding him this year anywhere on the field. Anthony Knapp, team leader, plays all over the place, plays super physical, super rugged, moved himself to guard this year. A lot of people would resist that move because left tackle is the sexier position. Left tackle is like the more vaunted position, but he's probably best suited as a guard in the NFL, and the team needed him to move to guard, and he moved to guard. And I think that shows a lot of leadership and a lot of toughness, and I think that's going to come up a lot in the future here. And then Tay Johnson bursts onto the scene as just this explosive playmaker. He's already, honestly, probably one of my favorite players on the team because he's just so much fun to watch because he hits hard, he runs fast, a lot of fun. And KVA, when he's healthy, does it all. Can do literally everything. And it's a shame that he got that ACL because he's probably going to be a slow start this season. But all of these guys, there are a lot of guys that on this team that are really, really important. But when I think of going into 2026, we saw all of these guys really kind of assert themselves in a way that I think is going to pay a lot of dividends this year. Thoughts, comments, concerns about that one?
Tay Johnson, Indiana kid right there.
John, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was going to say my takeaways were pretty much the same. That, yes, expectations were high, and it's a bummer that we missed the playoffs. But I think this year and in the future, this is kind of the beginning of it. A good 3-year run here with the talent that we have. I think that last season definitely showed that. I just wrote down, guys like Bowen, Schuler, right? Tay, obviously. I mean, if you like football or if you know anything about football, watching Tay Johnson it's like Christmas Day every single time he's on the foot. Oh my gosh, he is so fun to watch. Right, KVA's back. Right, we have all these guys who are just nose to the football, fly to the football. Right, once they get the reads, right, they just fly. They're physical. Okay, they're ball hunters. They're ball hawks. So, that was kind of my main takeaway. That was kind of my main takeaway as well. It's just we have all these guys that balled out like upperclassmen, and now they're actually going to be upperclassmen here.
Yeah.
And leaders on the football team. So I think this is the beginning, right? The beginning of a very, very exciting stretch.
Agreed. I'm really glad you brought up guys like Bowen and Schuler. I didn't include them on my list necessarily just because they're not going to be likely not going to be first and second round picks like all these other guys have potential to be, but those guys are every much the spine of the team as the players that I listed. Those dudes are smart, physical, leading football players of your program. I'm actually kind of annoyed with myself because I was originally going to look through the 2 deep for this year and look because you could make the argument maybe that the 2026 team might be hurt a little bit by the fact that these guys didn't get playoff experience in 2025, which may not be the most unreasonable thing to say. But if you look back at 2024, how many of these guys that you and I have both listed already played in that game when they were younger? They've already literally played at the highest level, and they've been there before. And they all played because they were all really young and really talented. Some of it was injuries as well, but these guys have been there before. They've seen what it's like to be on that field. I think they would know how to comport themselves in that manner.
It was Bowen who had that chase down when we were down by 2 touchdowns.
Oh, the fumble.
In the national championship game, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he blitzed up the middle, got stoned, but made the play 30 yards down the field. And got us back into it. So, yeah, he did.
Who says Drake Bowen's unathletic? Yeah.
Yeah, people who don't watch Drake Bowen.
I think the flip side of that too, though, is we got healthy this winter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bowen was playing through a torn labrum.
Yep. In his hip.
Right, and he's not the only one. And being able to get those guys healed up, it matters to go into the season. You hear after 25, it was the shortest off season ever, and guys were likely still, I don't want to say banged up come the season, but they weren't able to get as much out of the offseason.
Yeah, totally.
So being healthy makes a difference, and being able to take that time to get healthy should help development.
Absolutely.
And look, we play big games in the regular season, so like it's not like they're missing out on those experiences.
Agreed. I do want to, give the guise of impartiality. I feel like I do need to come up with something that's a little bit negative. And so one of the other takeaways I did have, something that still needs to be worked on, is Freeman struggles to get early reads on his teams. I think this is
I had that exact same thing.
I figured you did. So Notre Dame has lost every single year in September that Freeman has been the head coach. Now, they've all been kind of different. Like, I certainly would not try and argue with you that Miami and A&M are the same thing as losing to NIU or Marshall, because those are very different things. But so many different times we've gone into a season, and it's been very clear, I think, that Freeman expects something out of his team, and it's not really what ends up happening. In this case, you want to talk, the defense obviously was in complete disarray. Both for people were not comfortable in their schemes, but also you had personnel issues. Like Carson Hobbs, you can't pin everything on one guy. That's not at all how this works. But Carson Hobbs got wrecked for 2 games and then didn't play the rest of the year in non-garbage time snaps. He was not ready to play, and he was the nickel because after Devontae Smith went out, they went, this is the guy. They didn't want to play someone like Dallas Golden. They didn't want to move maybe a Leonard Moore into the slot if there was a really good guy like Malachi Toney there. Which that's a little unfair because no one knew that Malachi Toney was going to be Malachi Toney. But I think you understand the point that I'm making.
Yeah.
You go back to 2022, his first year there, the defensive line really did not show up, I think, the way that anybody expected it to the first couple games of the season. That's with Foskey and Adamaloas. That really, where were they? They got kind of pushed around against Ohio State. 2023 is that's honestly the one I give the less crap about because that was, they lost a really close game to Ohio State. They played well. But 2024, Leonard was not really healthy enough yet to be running the offense to the full extent that he would by the end of the year. Sam Pendleton starts out of nowhere and really does not play particularly well at all and is benched shortly after the NIU game. I can't remember when, Tom. I don't know if you would have that answer for me.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, but the offensive line was not really ready to go collectively to start the year either. This has just happened enough times where it's definitely, there's something broken in the process a little bit. And I do think that it's something that is going to be somewhat fixable because both from the way that Freeman has talked about it, it's very clearly something they're cognizant of, but also we have a lot of continuity, which again, we'll kind of save more for August, but I do think there's more continuity going into this season than they've had in any one of Marcus Freeman's seasons. I do think that will help a little bit, but it's definitely something we need to talk about because, we keep losing in September. So,
yeah, you hit the nail on the head, but 6 of Freeman's 12 losses in his career are August or September, since Miami was technically August, but that's a trend. And I think the other part of this discussion is bigger picture in that something probably needs to be done scheduling wise. If you look at, and I know we're uniquely situated as an independent, but we're one of the only teams who starts every year with a big game. And as much as it's fun for the fans, that's a disadvantage. This past year, if we had played switch weeks 3 and 4 with 1 and 2, and we played Purdue and whoever was right after that.
Boise.
Arkansas.
Oh, Arkansas. Yes.
Yeah. If we switch Purdue and Arkansas with Miami and A&M in order, we probably figure out that a guy like Carson Hobbs is not ready and a guy that Tay Johnson needs to be on the field. So I think that makes a difference. But it's hard. It's hard to do that given our situation as an independent. And we're kind of at the discretion of when teams want to play us and can play us.
Agreed.
I think that's part of it.
I do appreciate you, by the way, bringing up the Tay Johnson thing because I forgot to mention that because Tay Johnson was the first 3 games there. He was really a part-time player behind Jalen Stroman. And obviously, John and I both have now waxed poetic about how highly we think of Tay Johnson and how well he played this year and probably could have been of more use against Miami and A&M for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I do kind of want to almost flip that on its head because, again, this is a problem. At the same time, Freeman has definitely showed an ability to adjust and learn, like, okay, what did I think that was wrong and how can we fix this? Because they have lost, obviously we ended last year on an absolute tear, right? We were just annihilating teams left and right. 2024, same thing. Annihilated everybody except Georgia Tech basically left and right after the NIU loss. Freeman has lost 2 games in November in 4 years. He's only lost 2 games in November. Zeph, do you want to take a guess as to what those 2 games in November might be?
Off the top of my head, can't think of it.
Tom, what do we think?
Clemson in 23.
Clemson in 23.
And then SC in 22.
SC in 22. Tom's my guy. I figured he'd have those ones locked and loaded. Those are the only 2 games we've lost in November. We haven't lost in November in 3 years. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. And again, I think that is a hallmark of an ultimately very good coach who is someone who can adapt and figure out what needs to happen. Okay, Tay Johnson goes in. Tay Johnson's really good. We've heard a lot about how Marcus Freeman had kind of a come to Jesus moment with Chris Ash and all of the coaches and players as well, who maybe weren't all meshing the way that they were supposed to. And we saw that. I mean, they looked so comfortable and so aggressive in a way that they didn't at all in the most of September, certainly. John, did you have any other takeaways that, Tom and I have both got one. If you got one, go right ahead.
Gonna be honest with you, nothing that hasn't been said before.
Yeah.
Most of it
Totally
was
fine.
just about the defense with Ash figuring it out finally.
Yeah. Which you said so well.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then just Carr, right? Carr being. I mean, like we kind of knew that. I mean, even the Miami game, right? Even the Miami game, I remember calling you at halftime and being like, they got like Carr loose. Like we're throwing all these little bubble screens. We're acting like he's a little toddler.
Mm-hmm.
We got to let him start ripping it a little bit. And then, later on in the season, we got a little bit more confident with that. But yeah. I mean, and now the national media is starting to catch on that CJ's legit. Now I don't want to jinx anything, obviously, but
of course not. Of course not.
I think very
could be a good year.
Very high expectations. Very, very high expectations there with
yeah.
Mr. Carr.
I would agree. I mean, certainly there's going to be a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but there already was a lot of pressure on his shoulders. And he seemingly handled that very, very well. So, but again, we'll save that for another pod. Tom, if you have anything else that you wanted to take away, feel free to share that now, because I've got one more left that I think is going to be kind of like the ending note here.
Yeah, I think this one kind of touches on your last point that you talked about, how like Freeman adapts well, and he really does have his teams playing their best at the end of the year, which I don't want to say that's when it matters most, because in college football, every week matters. I mean, that's the beauty of this sport compared to others, I think. Mm-hmm. And heck, we saw what happens when the first couple of weeks don't matter this year.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think it on a bigger picture just shows where the program is, that like he's got it to the point where we're playing as good as anyone in the country year after year in November. And like a down year ends at 10-2, 2 top 10 losses by a combined 4 points, and you miss the playoff. I mean, and to think about, like, that's a down year in the last handful of years, hopefully handful of years to come, where like you think about some of those dark times, like 2007 to 2011, like the highlight of those years was like a win over a ranked Utah team.
Right.
Like, that's a typical Saturday for Freeman at this point. Like
2016, the highlight was losing to Texas.
Right. It's just Freeman has got the program in such a good spot.
Agreed.
And that's before you even look at the recruiting that's getting done. And again, I'm hoping this past year was the low point for a good 5 to 10 year stretch, but I know that may be asking a lot.
Well, yeah, of course, we'll see. By the way, for those of you that don't know, Notre Dame is quickly closing in on the best 2-year recruiting run of the modern era of Notre Dame football. Again, we don't really do recruiting stuff. I'm not going to get too in the weeds there, but Notre Dame is doing quite well on the recruiting front. There's a lot of high-end quality talent that should be contending for a lot of championships in the future there. Tom, I do want to add a little bit more. Thank you for that, by the way. Talking about, what it looks like to have a down year in this, current era of Marcus Freeman Notre Dame. This Notre Dame team last year was 3rd in FPI. And this is after all of the playoff games where teams have more opportunities to win and kind of add to the resume. Notre Dame was still 3rd. in ESPN's FBI, which is basically a combination of a couple different advanced stats. For some context, Bama was 10th, Oklahoma was 15th. If you go to S&P Plus, which has long been a famous consortium of stats by Bill Connolly, we were 5th in that. Again, this is all after the playoffs. The only teams that we were behind in S&P Plus were Indiana, Ohio State, Texas Tech, and Oregon. For some further context, Oklahoma was 14th and Bama was 20th. If you go to offensive efficiency, I already said that we were 7th in defensive efficiency, which is crazy given how badly we started. And we were 2nd in offensive efficiency. Really good team. That got cut down too early. So I say that all to end with my final takeaway here. And I'm assuming that you're both kind of agree with me on this. Someone's error is going absolutely crazy right now. Don't trust anybody to be rational about Notre Dame. All we can do is just win. Assume that everybody else is going to take every opportunity to knock us down that they can. Is that fair? I think so. I saw people all year dogging us for our schedule. I saw people, they were taking into context, they weren't taking into context the idea that our first 2 games were against playoff caliber teams and we lost by 4 combined points. I didn't see anybody talking about that. I see, again, railing against schedule, and that's happening this year. And then you look at other teams like Miami and Texas Tech that have worse schedules than us this year, and we don't hear a peep about any of that. All we hear is just about, again, the SEC, all this stuff. We have to deal with Alabama getting credited for a gutsy 4th and 5 call against a 500 Auburn team that allows them to jump ahead of us. We have 2 teams in Alabama and Oklahoma that are objectively worse than us in every single advanced metric that we can find. And yet, right? I'm just kind of exhausted by all of it. It's and at the same time, I spent so much of last year and I kept trying to understand why was this happening? Or why do people not understand? Why am I being told that I'm whining for things that are fairly obvious and straightforward to talk about? And by the end of the season, I just kind of accepted okay, people don't want to understand. They're not going to be rational about this, and that's just how it's going to be. At the end of the day, just win every single game. I don't really think that Freeman could put any of this any better than leave no doubt. That's at the end of the day, that's all you can do because everyone else is going to just leave it there for you. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway that I had from last year going into this year. So it's kind of where I'm at.
I've got a take on that.
Okay, Tom, go ahead. I love your takes.
Building off that, bring back the BCS. Not the BCS championship game. Bring back the rankings. There is no set of human beings in the college football world who can accurately make rankings that do not have bias in them one way or another. It can't happen. I don't care if you want to put a Kirk Herbstreit in the room, a Mark Ingram, whoever you think that is, those people can't do it. They show bias. And the answer is certainly not current sitting athletic directors. I mean, Hunter Yurachek, who was the committee chair, and there were other ADs on the committee, was the Arkansas athletic director. Mm-hmm. He is not able to sit down every Saturday and watch college football.
Nope.
He has his own game that he has to host and do all these other things for and that he's focused on. And I can promise you those guys are not then sitting down on Sunday and essentially rewatching the whole day of college football.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can do that. I mean, the 3 of us are as big of college football fans as there can be, really, and we couldn't do that objectively.
No. I'd like to think the 3 of us could make a good community.
I would still be biased. But
I would too.
Right. Bring back the computers and let the computer rank the teams and then say, okay, the top 12 make the playoff. That's my solution.
John, what do you think?
That's the other thing too. I agree with that. Just because if you're an athletic director, right, your background might be in something completely different from football.
Yeah.
Why are we putting this in the hands of people who might not even have a football background? Football is a very complicated game, right? These, there's a reason why teams do 2-a-days in summer camp, right? you have to take so much time and effort. It's unlike any other sport in that sense.
Mhm.
Like I know you got a bunch of different plays and whatnot and all that stuff for basketball, baseball, right? But football is it's a different monster. And if you're not like a football guy, right? Or and if you don't like really love the sport and like really understand it, you have no clue what you're looking at. And even so, watching the games, right? Like there's a reason why everybody on College Game Day, and I'm not the biggest fan of Herbie and those guys, but like there's a reason why Saban and Herbie and they're all saying that, if Notre Dame gets in, they're a legit title contender because they knew that we were a top 4 team in the country, right? So why are we putting in the hands of the Arkansas athletic director? By the way, we beat them by 46, and then the rest of the SEC combined beat them by 50.
Yep.
Like, come on, dude.
Mm-hmm.
The one team that beat your, behind up and down the field for 60 minutes straight, right? You're not letting in, and the team that squeaked by you, right? But it's unfortunate. I agree with you about the BCS computer. I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
It won't.
But
it never will. It does. I think it would be interesting because it still does take in humans to account. Like you still have the AP, and is it the coaches polls in it too? Like
yeah.
But if you look at the BCS, like if you applied the BCS to the last what has it been 12 years of like expanded playoffs, like they have it. Like they get it pretty right for the most part. And I think that the committee in years past certainly like got a little too much flack. And Tom and I talked about this a lot with Florida State. Like the 2023 Florida State was obviously kind of a big inflection point for some of this, but which we don't need to get into right now. But
good.
No. I already did that on the air. We don't need to do it again. But I think that I just clearly with the expansion of the playoffs, there's more opportunity for more teams to lobby and for things to go wrong. And I mean, we already saw Alabama through a hissy fit in 2024 when they justifiably got left out for SMU. And again, we saw this again this year. By the way, side rant that I forgot to talk about here because I've already talked about this before. Miami and the ACC spent the entire time, this entire year, railing against us when they could have been railing against Alabama and Oklahoma, who they definitely should have been in over. Like, obviously, they beat us. They should probably be ahead of us too. But why were we the target when, again, we have this relationship with the ACC? Worry about the other teams. When the SEC literally whines about everything all the time. They got 5 teams in the playoffs this year and didn't get a single win over a non-SEC team, by the way. Georgia didn't win a game. Alabama only beat Oklahoma. Ole Miss beat Georgia. Oh, sorry. And Ole Miss beat James Madison, too. Sorry. They deserve some credit for that, I guess.
They deserve some credit,
Yeah. So, again, the SEC literally got everything they could have asked for. Their teams just didn't perform on the field. And then they have the audacity at their media event last week to just talk about how they're getting screwed still and they need more representation. They've had more teams than any other conference get in the playoffs. They've done nothing with it. No. Texas won 2 games and made it to the semifinals. And Ole Miss beat James Madison. That's it. Well, I just don't understand what more they could want. What am I missing?
And to your point, right? Oklahoma, or it's to the point that we've been discussing about putting people who actually watch football on the selection committee, right? If you watch Oklahoma and Alabama, they were not a good football team.
No.
And there is a reason they were 15th or 20th on the final rankings because they kind of sucked. I mean, watching the Indiana versus Alabama game, I know Indiana was a power, they're a powerhouse, but shoot, I mean, you could have thrown Bowling Green on that field, right? And the game would have looked similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Alabama's last 2 games played, one against Indiana, one against Georgia. They averaged, I believe it was like 0.6 yards per carry between those 2 games.
Surprised it was that many.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, I just kind of run out of words, honestly. It's just so revolting, especially, like, we've already talked about this. Like, Notre Dame was as much a contender as anybody could have been this year. Like, they really were by the end of the year. And that just sucks. But you know what? It's done. Like, it's already done. Like I already said, like, these attitudes are not going to change. As much as, people that can see what's going on might talk about it, there's not really much to do at this point other than just win and leave no doubt.
Yep.
No doubt.
Tom, any final thoughts here?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. I do want to kind of pose this question to the listeners, and you and we'll talk about this off screen too. So, like I said, I want to do 2 of these preview episodes, and I'm also going to do some NFL stuff by myself, and that's going to be in August. And I kind of want to do it weekly. I guess my question is, when do we think, for you, the listeners, what is the day that you prefer? I'm outsourcing all my marketing research to just the people that listen. What day of the week are you like most likely to listen to a podcast? Like, I kind of assumed, like, if I drop these at a Sunday night and then you look at them Monday morning, then you have all week on your commute. That's kind of what I thought, but maybe other people think differently. So I'm kind of curious to hear your thought. I might put a poll, text me, reach out, do all that jazz, because the 3 of us, we're going to be busy. We're going to be talking about Notre Dame football, and we're not going to do it all in 1 2-hour sit down. So we're going to stretch it out a little bit. So as always, guys, thank you so much for listening. Please leave a comment, subscribe, all that stuff really helps with the spreading of the awareness of the podcast. By the way, I also found out, I keep saying you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Google Podcast doesn't exist anymore. It's not a thing. It's dead. I've been saying this for like a year and a half. It doesn't exist anymore. So
clearly
it's
no
still
one listened there then. Everyone's using Spotify.
I guess so. But so it's not on Google Podcasts. It's on, I think, Outcast and or some other stuff. It's everywhere. If you find it, it's there. It's also on YouTube now, by the way. Big thing. Wow. So it's not, I got to set it up a little more officially, but theoretically, I think the audio for this does get ripped into YouTube. So that's fun. So I will be on vacation in Vermont next week, so we will not do an episode then. But when I come back, you will probably start hearing us talk about the offense, and hopefully that'll be on a Sunday night, but we'll kind of see if I get some feedback. Otherwise, we'll fix that up. I am going tonight. You guys might think this is fun. I'm going to see The Odyssey in IMAX at 2 a.m. because that is the only ticket that I could get. So it is, what time is it now? It is 7:40. In about 45 minutes, I'm going to go take a nap and wake up at like 1 o'clock and head over there and try not to fall asleep.
Good call.
Good
night. Yeah, probably going to be getting to bed at 6:30 in the morning. So we'll see what happens. But thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back soon.